So, hello everyone. My name is Atyant Gupta, and I'm a second year student in Computer Science in Vellore Institute of Technology. I, on the on the behalf of I. So, hello everyone. So, hello everyone. My name is Atyant Gupta, and I'm a second year student in BIT Vellore from CSE branch. Today, I am here on the behalf of IEEE Computer Society VIT chapter on a seminar to roadmap to web development. It's a part of a prestigious tech niche, and it's one of the main events of the club. So, to so the one of the most important thing is, and it's about roadmap to web development. So the first thing arises, it's what is web development. So web development refers to creating websites and deploying them in the World Wide Web. So yeah, so in this roadmap, it is divided into three parts. Uh, the main two portions of the web development are front end and back end development. And one thing which I will recommend you all, it is that I think once if you have started GitHub learning before, then it's very good. But if you have not started GitHub, then I will advise you all to start learning GitHub along with web development. And if you are an aspiring web developer, and I will also suggest you all to keep uploading your files and whatever works or projects you are going on, to keep uploading on the GitHub and continue learning. Yeah. So GitHub is used for storing, tracking, and collaborating on software projects. So now, I will come on to front end development. So what is front end development? So yeah, so front end is a type of front end developer is a type of developer who specializes in creating UI and UX of a websites. And and the front end developer should and the main job of the front end developer is to make sure that whatever the website is making, um, its UI is looking good, and it's able, and the one person gets impressed who is going to see it. So it is also known as the client part of the web development. So it has various frameworks which to support web developments. Web frameworks of the front-end development provides a standard way to build and deploy web applications on the World Wide Web. Also, it includes user experience like text, colors, fonts, styles, images, graphs, and everything which can make your website look more beautiful and more decorative. So now I will come on to what are the different aspects of the front end development and how one should proceed further to be a front end developer. So yeah, so it consists of mainly three parts. HTML, CSS, and JavaScripts. So the first thing, the most basic thing about front end development is HTML. HTML is not a programming language; it is a markup language, which is a first step towards to being a aspiring web developer. So, as a web developer, here are two paths which I have shown you. As a one is front end and one is back end. So, once the person who is good in back end and has get a sufficient knowledge in back end can proceed further for DevOps also. So I will not. So I will continue on the front end part, which I was telling about HTML further. So yeah. So moving on to HTML. HTML is a markup language which consists of various different type of tags through which you can give a basic design, basic you can create simple web pages, and it's not a very difficult language to learn. uh, and it is also used to structure a web page and its content. For example, content could be structured within a set of paragraphs, a list of bulleted points, or using images and tables. And HTML elements are the building blocks of HTML pages, which HTML we can create interactive forms, maybe embedded into rendered page. One unique thing about HTML is it consists of various different type of tags. And HTML documents imply a structure of nested HTML elements. In a simple general case, the extent of a element is indicated by a pair of tags. So yeah, so that was all about HTML. Now we will move on to the next aspect, which is CSS. So yeah, so CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. Uh, it's a style sheet language which is used for describing the presentation of a document written in a markup language like HTML. CSS is specially designed to enable the separation of content and presentation, including layouts, colors, and fonts. The name cascading comes from the specified priority scheme to determine which style rule applies if more than one rule matches a particular element. The cascading priority scheme is predictable. The syntax of CSS is very simple, and each style sheet consists of a list of rules, and each rule consists of one or more selectors. And one more thing about CSS is like you can create a web page along with both HTML and CSS, and these two are the one of the major components of front end web development. So yeah, now as we have done up with the CSS and HTML, now comes the very most important aspect of web development, which is JS or JavaScript, which we also called JavaScript. So you must all be thinking why I have called JavaScript for haters. Why people hate JavaScript? People, there is like, the thing is that like JavaScript is one of the most important language, but at the time people find it sometimes very difficult. So because, and there are many errors and people sometimes tend to be irritated, so due to which people hate it, but no one can ignore it because it is one of the most important language for web development. E- Even for web, even for front end also and back end also. So developers, it is also a very dynamic in nature, which makes it hard for them to catch errors at a compile time. So when we ask, suppose when we ask the same question to OpenAI or ChatGPTs, some people also might find the syntax of JavaScript to be more confusing or maybe difficult to work it. And it's true, it's not wrong. And burnout is also another reason why CS is disliked by many developers. In fact, JS burnout is often talked about by members of the front-end developers community. Most of the complaint revolve around the JS framework, features, and libraries. And also, it has many npm libraries which does not work on all the web browsers. But still, if someone wants to be a good developer or someone is aspiring to be a web developer, JS is a essential language, and one could learn. And uh, and it is one of the most professional language used by people nowadays. It also enables you to create dynamic updating content, multimedia, animate images, and pretty much everything else. So yeah, so this with this I will wrap up with about the front end development. Now we will slowly move towards the back end development, which is also known as the server side of the web development. And JavaScript is also connected to the back end aspect of the development also. So first of all, analysis what is back end development. Back-end development is a development is which deals on maintaining data wise. It stores and arranges data and also makes sure everything on the client side of the website works fine. It is the part of the website that we cannot see and interact with it. And I will give you all an example to describe like what is backend. Suppose we are purchasing some something. So suppose we are purchasing something from Amazon. So the UI part which we see, that is front end, but now I will explain the back end part of it. So backend also uses APIs. So suppose you purchase something from Amazon, and when you go to payment portals and when you pay through it, that comes becomes another part of web development. So I will now describe what are the major components, what languages, what framework one should go with. So yeah, so if someone has learned front end and have learned JavaScript, then you can also choose to be a MERN stack developer, because the major benefits of being a MERN stack developer is that if you have learned JS at the time you are learning front end, then you can move to Node.js, which only uses JS. So yeah, so that can be uh, more fruitful, and you can carry on with it as forward. One stack consists of MongoDB, Express, React, and Node. These are the major four technologies that make up the stack. Express and Node make up the middle tier. Munstack is a JavaScript stack that is used for easier and faster deployment of full stack web applications also. Once you- and But if you are more interested in the logical part of it, then you can opt out of one stack and you can go through different pathways also. So yeah, this is a basic structure of how backend works. Yeah, one major aspect which you all can see here is API. I will explain API in the upcoming minutes. So now comes one of the main aspect, connecting the backend and the front end development. So yeah, so this is where now the role of API comes into play. So now I will explain you the role of APIs, which plays a major role in connecting the front end and the back end aspect of it. So what is API? API is a application programming interface. It is set of defined rules that enable different applications to communicate with each other. It acts as an like intermediate layer that processes data transfer between systems, later companies opening their application data and functionality. So I will explain how does an API work. So whenever someone purchases something from e-commerce, when the buyer clicks the payment button, an API calls to retrieve information, also known as request. The request is processed from an application to the web developer via the APIs and includes a request verb headers. After receiving a valid request from the product webpage, the API makes a call to the external program. In this case, which is a third-party payment system, the server sends a response to the AI with the requested information. So yeah, so AI basically connects the two parties, which is one of the major aspect. A AI is used in various logins, travel bookings, mapping apps. So yeah, that was all about APIs. So now, as I have explained you about the front end, what is front end, what is back end. So once suppose a person has learned both front end and develop and back end, then the person who is good in both the things is known as a full stack developer. So now I will give some uh, to aspiring developers, like how should they proceed and how should they learn. One of the so they everyone has a different way to learn. Some learn through projects, some people learn through a course. So it completely depends on you, or you will have to figure out. But in my case, I have observed that I learn through projects more. So, but it completely depends on you how you want to want to learn. before learning. But if you are trying to learn through projects, I would suggest you all once should have a basic knowledge of HTML and CSS, so before starting a project. Because if you don't have even a basic knowledge, then I think you won't be understand the syntax while coding it and while using the program. And if someone is wants to begin, then he can begin by working through projects like clones, make different e-commerce website, payment portals, like that. So yeah, this is a way a person can proceed. So yeah, so that was all from my side, and I think you I was I was successful in describing about web development and how to move forward. And I wish you all the viewers all the very best. Thank you.